My next guest is Jan Egeland. Jan runs the Norwegian Refugee Council, and he's just back from Gaza, where he's been in the south in the city of Rafah, where 1.4 million refugees are still waiting to see when and how the Israelis will attack. Meanwhile, relations between aid agencies and the Israelis remain very tense indeed. Earlier this week, an independent review led by former French foreign minister concluded that claims by Israel that staff of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees, or UNWRA, were members of terrorist groups Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad were not backed up by any evidence. In January, Israel had accused UN staff members of helping the October the 7th attack, which resulted in the deaths of 1,139 people and the abduction of more than 200.
Gaza is like no other place on earth. I have never in my 45 years as a humanitarian seen such a densely populated place without any escape, being under such an intense bombardment for such a long time. And really now the last escape has been the very southern tip of Gaza, which is smaller than the municipality of Oslo, where I normally live. There is 1.4 million people, and they live in fear of the war machine plowing through what is today basically the largest displacement camp on earth.
And we are still trying to discover really what's happened to people in other parts of Gaza. Around the Al-Shifa hospital, there are very disturbing reports of mass graves being uncovered. Yes. Graves including medical workers, former patients, and many other people, including children. I think 300 bodies being discovered so far. Yeah. Your reaction?
Yes. My reaction is that the innocent is again dying in the thousands in this conflict. I mean, Shifa is a hospital. The Hamas fighters have no place there. So if they were fighting from there, if they took refuge with arms there, they committed a war crime. But disproportionate use of force against a hospital where doctors, nurses, children, patients have died is also complete. It's a war crime. It's totally disproportionate. And these mass graves clearly filled with civilians, not with fighters. As far as we know, it is beyond belief. This should have ended a long time ago. It should not have allowed to continue for so long.
Well, obviously, Israel would dispute about that, but you accusing Israel there of a war crime. Relations between a lot of the aid agencies and the Israelis have almost broken down. We've had the report, the independent report into UNWRA, which said the Israelis had no evidence for their accusations that UNWRA staff had been involved in Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And yet, this huge row has cut off a massive amount of aid for Gaza. I think about $450 million of aid, which would have gone to Gaza, is not now coming from Western countries. What is the effect of that?
The effect of defunding UNWRA is undermining the whole lifeline, the most important lifeline to that population, really. I mean, UNWRA was created by the United Nations as a consequence of the United Nations creating the State of Israel and hundreds of thousands of Palestinians being displaced by the fighting in 1948. That's why we got UNWRA. Since then, it's been the main provider of social welfare, of relief for the refugees that fled to Gaza, the West Bank, and neighboring countries. To defund UNWRA is basically to undermine the relief to the most important provider there. I mean, my organization, Norwegian Refugee Council, is on the ground in Gaza and all of these other places. I have 60 colleagues inside Gaza. They do heroic work, and we have a large aid program. But all of us organizations in Gaza are not even half of what UNWRA has been for Gaza. So to defund Gaza on mere allegations from Israel was a mistake.
Given that UNRWA has been so important inside Gaza for so long, and that Gaza for so long was run by Hamas, is it unreasonable for the Israelis to say that they believe there is a connection between the two?
Yeah, it's unreasonable to believe there's a connection between UNRWA, that was providing social welfare and relief, and Hamas. Of course, Hamas have been the rulers in Gaza. You cannot travel or do work in Gaza without having some relations with the de facto authorities. You can't do that in Iran either, or in southwest Syria that are having armed Islamic militias governing the place. But there is no allegations, no proof of massive support from UNRWA to Hamas at all. The 12 people that was alleged to have participated in the 7th of October were dismissed by UNRWA immediately. I think UNRWA did everything right when the allegations came. The donors did everything wrong by cutting the aid, and Israel has not proven that this is in any way a widespread problem.
And of course, one of the donors who cut the aid was Britain. And there is a lively argument inside the ruling Conservative Party at the moment about what to do next. The government are still holding off allowing that aid back to UNRWA. What would you say to the Prime Minister?
I would say to the Prime Minister, do what you can to end this war, to get a ceasefire. Of course, the United Kingdom has been among the countries providing military aid to Israel that has had an indiscriminate warfare now for many months. You said earlier that I had said that Israel committed war crimes. I said that attacking indiscriminately and hospital is a war crime if that has happened. And there are many proofs or rather allegations that it has been indiscriminate beyond belief. Another figure for you, my organization is responsible for providing shelter for civilians. Some 400,000 shelters, homes have been either destroyed or damaged. If that's not indiscriminate, I don't know what indiscriminate is.